Welcome to the One Harvest Podcast, Northern California, coming straight at you. We got Aaron, Kyle, and myself as the host. And today we have Brandon from Shepereds Meadow Farms.
Yeah.
So grateful to have you here, man. This is super dope. You brought a bunch of flower to try today. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah?
Stoked to be here.
How's life? How's the new era of cannabis this year coming through?
The new era?
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know. I like the old eras.
Yeah.
Same.
But yeah, no, it's good. I've got really good flavors coming.
Yeah, this looks
flavors
phenomenal, by the way.
Going down, exactly.
Yeah.
It smells amazing.
Yeah. You got the
Always
studio
stoked.
rinking.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Studio smelling good today.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
That's how
it should be. But yeah, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, I've been commercially cultivating cannabis for 19 years now. Yeah, I started in 2005. I first pulled a harvest in 2002, but then I wasn't doing everything myself until 2005.
Okay.
And then like I said, I started the 400 watt in my closet, and then moved to 2,000 watts to 4,000 watts to 8,000 watts to 16,000 watts
Hey.
up to 40,000 watts plus.
Yeah.
And then
Now you're in Mendo
Yeah.
with your outdoor and dep cultivation.
Exactly. That's what our
How-
main focus is.
Yeah,
is
how's that going up there?
sun-grown. It's good. I'm stoked on where we're at. We're inland a little bit.
Yeah.
We're still on the west side of 101, which means that we get a little bit of water, but
Yeah.
it's still good. It's a really good place to grow really good weeds.
It is.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, the
So
air is
that
nice out there.
climate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna
That
say.
Mendo climate can't beat it.
Oh,
Nice and
It is
clean.
the best.
Yeah,
So-
you originally started in Humboldt, correct?
Yeah, so I lived in Humboldt for 12 years before I got my property here in Mendo. All of the previous I started doing indoor and then did that forever. And then after complications with law enforcement at the time and stuff, this is all way pre Prop 64 onto 215 era. I decided that Mendocino, where it was along just being on the forefront of cannabis legalization, they had the 99 tag program at the time. So I decided that it was a better fit for me if I was going to be hassled for doing something that I loved and that we all now agree is totally fine and great and wonderful. Everybody else came around to it. But
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people grew indoor, because it was so easy to hide.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that plays into why the Emerald Triangle was prolific for so long. It's not even so much the climate. It's the brain trust that was there and stuff, and that still is there.
The knowledge that we got passed down. Yeah.
Exactly. Granted, we had what kept you alive back in the day was being out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And some of the things I say is that the policies and the things that you do in the 20th century that kept you alive are going to sink you in the 21st, which is back then you wanted to be covert, behind everything. Now it's if you don't have an online presence, you're not real.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I've
true.
never heard of you. Like, what's
It's
up
true.
with your Instagram? What's up with this? Da, 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 da.
Yep.
It's like,
That's crazy.
yeah, but it's
So true.
You gotta get out the shadows.
How much it
these days.
changed? Like it did a
Yeah.
full switch.
for
Yeah.
sure.
It used to be hidden and hide in the trees and
Exactly.
try to grow.
Literally. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're old enough to remember getting, pounds of outdoor that had like little shavings from manzanita bushes, because that's where it was like trimmed, or that's
Yeah.
where it was like grown and stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, all the
But-
good herbs
I
and
mean,
spices.
Exactly. But yeah. And again, it's the climate, which is great, but it's the community, it's the culture that really defined the Emerald, Triangle. When I'm setting my indoor, I'm not setting it to Humboldt's, Soham's climate. 65 at night, 75 during the day, 55% relative humidity. Where am I talking about? That's Santa Barbara. That's San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
And they do grow good weed there, but
They do.
But is their weed as good as ours? No, it isn't, because
Preach.
of that brain trust. And there's
Yep.
a lot of the herb it takes the intangible and it makes it tangible. Like your love, your
Ooh, I like
intention
that.
and stuff, it manifests in the herb. You can see that.
The plant
So,
feels it.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between good weed and great weed, is that intention that, like I
Yes,
said,
sir.
that becomes a
Field.
tangible thing where it's like, I smell that, I taste that, I feel that.
We smell that.
It's a feeling.
We smell that
We
right
smell
now.
that love
Yeah.
and intention right
Yeah,
here.
Definitely.
exactly.
What'd you bring us today?
So right now I've got some Pinnacle,
Okay.
some
This one's
that's
Pinnacle?
the Uber purple. Is the
Uber.
It almost needs something green next to it so that you can tell how purple it is.
Okay.
That shit is nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
It
It's
looks
got
good.
frost. It's
Yeah,
It
and
smells
so that's
amazing.
the thing is that right now,
Smells great.
as we were talking about before we started rolling with this, I'd say that the culture, the epicenter of cannabis culture has shifted south of where it was, which was
my favorite.
Humboldt, Mendo, and now it's driven much more by the consumer rather than by the grower. And I'm at the mercy of the market because I have to grow what sells.
Yep.
I used to be able to choose what I wanted to grow because I knew it was good. I'm trying to grow a good product. I'm trying to get it out there. And so now, it's
The market influences that so much now. It's hard to for the farmers to be like, oh, I'm going to grow a sativa this year and be able to get it off.
So what
for some
distro
personal smoke?
Actually,
Personal smoke's different, but if you have 50 pounds of it,
Yeah.
well, no.
It's not
What
moving.
distro actually puffs any of the herb that they sell?
True.
When you go and buy it in LA, are
Preach.
they rolling up any of that? No. It used to be back in the day. Oh, let me try some of that.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, that's
Try it right on the
super
spot,
harsh.
yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. It's no, but you're not even allowed to do that. If California had its way, everything would be in opaque packaging. It would be hermetically sealed. And imagine going to Safeway, going to Whole Foods, and buying grapes in a
You can't-
Mylar bag that you can't look at. You can't
would be
smell.
tough.
Can't
It'd be
feel
like,
them,
yeah,
can't try 'em,
this is
yeah.
a non-homogenized agricultural product, and it needs to be seen and smelled and touched.
The government's scared.
there's so many different strains. It's like, how do you have
For sure.
to?
Exactly. So I'm just going to have to be like, oh, I can't open this jar, but I'm going to have to buy it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And then they tax the shit
Which is-
out of it.
Of course. And so why is the black market thriving? Because it exists. It's been doing it for
It'll
70
always
years.
exist.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like these aren't new things.
It's not a new thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one was this?
That looks. I think that's the MJ mids.
The MJ, man.
And this is all indoor,
This is indoor.
but your focus is sun-grown?
It typically is.
Okay.
I came from an indoor background, and I have indoor facilities, so I'm able to
Yeah.
to do that. And in the off season,
I was
also
gonna say,
like
for the off
exactly.
season.
So I fired this up at the end of December.
Keep the green thumb rolling.
Exactly, because it does.
Yeah.
You do get rusty, but also it's good to
Yeah,
you do.
for
Well, it's
sure.
also your passion. So
Yeah, it's
if
fun
you
to keep
can't
it
do it in
going.
the sunlight,
Exactly. And
find another way.
Exactly.
I know you-
It's a good way to test out things that I want to run.
I say
Yeah.
R&D
Oh, yeah.
purposes right
Yeah.
there.
What strains
For
to bring
sure.
out, like with the light dep and
Exactly. And things, some stuff that runs indoor well might not run outdoor well, or vice versa. And
Yeah.
Stuff. But it's still
It's great to have the
Yeah.
the opportunity.
I've noticed
to do
that as
both.
well.
exactly.
yeah. Last time David and I were at your farm, everything looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hoop houses
Color.
were all up. The color on the product was amazing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Clean.
That's
The nose was right there.
that's what we strive for, and that's what the market demands at the moment is color.
Mm-hmm.
What do people want? They want color. They
What do
purple
you
gas. That's
What do you
they
feel
want.
about color?
I think that it's really limiting.
It is.
If you imagine, like, I don't drink wine, but imagine being like, I don't drink any red wine, or I don't drink any mixes or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's- you are missing out on so
A
much.
lot.
And so it's
Because
you
on
know,
a hot day, I like a white.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no, I've been preaching
Like
that. Like,
rosé.
I have some really lime
Yeah.
green cannabis that's phenomenal,
Oh.
but a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's so green."
Do you
And it's
see?
Like, that's a problem.
Does the smoke
But
change how you know that it's
Yeah.
purple when you're puffing it? Dude, these terp profiles that you're totally missing, where
Mm-hmm.
you're like shutting out because I don't have any purple. that is just
Then just
you
don't
know,
fucking look at it. Just smoke that shit.
Roll that shit up so you
know what I
can't see it.
Sure.
And
mean,
then
like,
the
yeah,
testing these days, we
killing
can't even
me.
go by the testing because,
No.
yeah.
Fraudulent.
Well,
But it also is
Shady.
getting better though, right, Aaron?
They
It's
did.
better.
California did.
I think California's done
This
some
year,
really
regulating.
great improvements with the testing processes, but there's always going to be those.
But that's still so
situations.
recent. Like,
It's so new that
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not going to really affect anything yet.
Yeah.
I
But
think
you
it's
know
gonna-
what? To be honest, you shouldn't even be looking at numbers anyways. One of my really good friends, shout out to Jason Lampman at State 3, who's
Okay.
won a ton of awards up in Portland.
Nice.
Excellent,
Sick.
excellent
Congrats.
cultivator. He's the man. Really good friend of mine. I actually met him in Humboldt, where he lived for a long time.
Might have to bring
before.
him on with you another time.
Oh yeah, he'd be great. He's a great guy.
is he an indoor grower?
He does indoor. He does all that. He's in the Willamette Valley, so
Sick.
next
Oh,
to wineries.
nice.
It's
Okay.
great. He's got a great setup. He makes
Sweet.
his own soil, makes a ton of stuff. I mean,
Sweet.
and he's
Love
just
it.
Love
like,
it.
an amazing guy.
Talk
Just-
about that intention, the
he-
plant.
Oh yeah, it's just
Mixing
yeah.
your own soil, though, that's just
That's
Dude,
the shit.
next level.
constantly trying
Make your
to
own
That's
soil and like your
That's
own
like the
teas.
best.
Oh, I mean, he's got
With
a
the
frass
tea
stuff. I mean,
is
he does it all and stuff.
game
whatever.
changer.
I'm constantly like in awe of what he's doing.
Picking
But
his
just such a
brain.
cool community to have
It is.
people like that.
It
And
is.
I think that's that NorCal
I'm stoked.
community that looks at it as I'd rather help each other work as like a community, a true community
he's-
rather than
he's
against
one of
each
the
other.
Share
most
the love,
positive
yeah.
people, and it is one of the most positive things. But he's won a ton of awards, and he even was like, "Hey, fellow people who have won awards, what is your stuff testing at that you win awards at? Is it these 30%, which is total bullshit, anyways? Let's get real. If it was a third of the weight in THC, it's going to be pretty harsh. So and he was like, yeah, it's somewhere between 18 and 20%.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, yeah.
It still
In
gets
a
you
blind-
high as fuck.
So it gets
Hell
you
yeah.
high
And
and
that's
you're
the
functional.
actual numbers. When you see these numbers, they're allowed to go up by 10%. You can have a label fail. So it's
I
like,
hate-
dude, it's, yeah, exactly.
It's a huge jump.
Oh,
10,
yeah.
10 up or down
Yeah,
is
exactly.
huge. Nobody goes down. But
What
like,
is this,
for
Wall
real.
Street? It's like, what numbers do you want to hit? It's
Yeah.
just like, this is crazy. This isn't the end of the quarter.
Huge
We're trying to
variance.
meet- Yeah, exactly.
That's an insane
Exactly.
variance.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, he brought up a good point, which is that it's not about that. And I say that all the time too. I used to be like, when you're a kid, yeah, give me the 151. But it's
Yeah.
as like
The
you know,
strongest thing you got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But really, it's like when you get older, are you buying it based on the the proof of the liquor. No, you're going for the and so it's like, I think with the maturing markets, we're seeing that. We're seeing
it is slowly getting that way.
Culture's not as overbearing as it was. Remember how it's all dabs, it's all concentrates. I think flower, especially flower like this, it holds its own.
Definitely.
Oh yeah,
it's
for
true.
sure. What do you think about that culture and how it's going that way? And obviously, like you just said, it's coming back a little bit towards flower. Everything kind of repeats itself. But how are you adapting to this new market? And are you doing any extracts? Are you freezing any of your flower?
Yeah, I do work on occasion with certain. I've had fresh frozen made by Royal Key.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise! Up in Arcata, they've won a bunch of awards for their solventless and their solvent
Sweet.
stuff.
Shout out to Arcata.
Yeah, oh yeah. I try and keep it local. Those guys are great. Yeah, one of my best friends set up all the SOPs and does all the stuff there.
You do any oil with your flower, or?
Yeah, so they'll do different things with it. But typically, my flour, I just try and, when it comes to running a business, you have to crunch the numbers. And fresh frozen, especially indoor, really doesn't get you that good of a return. So it's typically like, I did an ice cream cake run when everybody's ice cream cake were herming and threw out seeds. So was phenomenal herb, but I can't be like puffing this. So the best way to do something with it is, all right, we're going to freeze it.
You adapt.
repurpose that.
You know?
Yeah.
But then when you factor in the fact that you have to get a refrigerated truck at minimum, if not a full.
There's a lot of side expenses that go into that.
And then
Well, to keep it at that temperature until you're ready to use it,
that's the thing.
you gotta have freezer
and it's
space.
hugely labor intensive. It's not like you just cut the plant and throw it in a freezer. You basically harvest it and trim it.
You buck everything right then, and you're always going for the really nice stuff too. So it's like you're taking all your premium flour,
it's
freezing
It
it,
could
which
be
is
hard
great.
to look at, thinking like, I'm freezing this. I'm
Yeah,
never gonna
like,
smoke
damn,
this,
what am I
whatever.
doing?
I remember seeing it come through and being like, damn, like it's not wasted. I keep telling myself like, it's not a waste. It's not a waste. It's gonna be fine.
No, and I do puff on concentrates.
Yeah.
I'll do. It's always just full spectrum live resin. Or whatever.
Live resin,
So,
solventless.
That's where it's at.
What do you-
basically, the only brand that I'll puff is Cold Fire Juice. If Surprise
Okay.
or Royal Key were to do another run of carts, I would jump all over those.
Okay.
And they
Good to
do
know.
toll work for other companies, and they've set a lot of standards, the
Like
SOPs
practice
and stuff,
standards,
whatever,
that's
you know.
amazing.
Yeah,
So it's just quality.
yeah.
Love that.
Sean,
Well, and having
did a lot of
SOPs
the
in
stuff
place
there.
from like that perspective, that's my world.
Yeah.
And it's just it's going to be consistent. You're going to get consistent product because everybody's doing it the same way, which is the tried and true
Yes, exactly.
method. So
No.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. So shout out to them because
exactly.
getting
Yeah.
your shit in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And they know what they're doing. It's reflected in the product. And
That's
everything.
awesome.
You know, they put out excellence. I'm constantly in awe of the shit that they do because it's
That's
retarded.
great because
Are
there's
they-
a lot of not so great products on the
Yeah.
market.
Oh yeah.
No.
Again, we're
just not
talking
pure.
about.
You know,
Yeah.
just
We're talking
There's a
about
lot
an
of garbage
agricultural
out there.
product. We're talking about an agricultural product. This
Exactly.
isn't consistent. And so I think that's why, you know, a lot of the VC people got out of this. It's because it's not their industry.
Flows are huge.
I have someone on my staff who has an MBA from Stanford, and they're like, this industry's insane. They ran, you know, multi-billion-dollar conductor companies, and they're like,
this is wild.
nothing works the way
Volatile
it's
as
supposed to.
fuck.
Yeah.
And I thrive in chaos, so it works for me.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Versus
That's
like-
how we all thrive in this industry. We
Yeah.
just adapt and figure it out. And
Yeah.
If you can
continue
wear
to go.
many hats and pick them up as they're needed,
Yeah.
you can
You got
survive,
it.
especially right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You
What
know?
What do you think about the fruit terpenes that people are adding into their? And
No,
And
cannabis.
spraying on
cannabis
flour.
are-
let's get back on that in a
Well,
second.
On one hand, I'm very tech oriented. I'm very scientific. I like the idea of finding the formulation for a specific terpene
Yeah.
profile.
Yeah.
This is OG. And it's like, oh, I can just mix this at this rate. and
nerd
da, da,
out
da.
on that a
Yeah.
little
Exactly.
bit.
Like, that is
Sure.
cool. But do I want to be puffing that shit? No, not really. But even when you do like steam distillate off of you take the terps off. Even those terps, when you're reinserting them, they've still been altered a little bit. And
that
those are
little
cannabis-based
artificial.
terps.
Terpenes, yeah.
But the fruity stuff, I mean, you know, people puff those.
People love it.
People
Wow.
puff the,
People love that shit.
you know, nicotine
Yeah.
vapes from
All
God
started.
knows where. with how-
And I
as
think it's
was.
that whole generation.
Yeah,
To be honest with
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
they targeted them with those vapes.
Yeah.
And got them into all that fruity
Yeah.
cloud shit.
When weed isn't when you're not even smoking real tobacco, who cares about real weed?
Yeah.
And that also leads into a lot of the shit. I think the market is moving towards what I call the MP3ization of weed, which is good enough. Why do we still have MP3s? Why does everybody still download MP3s onto their phone? I have a terabyte of storage on my phone. Okay, it's not a storage issue. I have headphones that don't have to be connected via Bluetooth, or even the codecs that are with Bluetooth now. Excellent audio, better bit rates than MP3 can put out. But we still do MP3. Why?
Yep.
because it's easy and people know it.
Yep.
That's why you have shitty pre-rolls, because people are like, oh, it's just easy.
It's just
Convenient.
convenient.
It's convenient.
Disposable vapes. That's a battery. That's like a lithium battery that you're throwing into the trash.
Yeah.
You know, every time you
At a rapid rate, too, because people buy them just to throw them away.
Yeah, that's you know, I stopped personally putting stuff in jars, you know, a few years ago, because it was just thinking about every pound is 128 jars.
Yeah.
And those are glass jars, which weigh a lot, which means they have to get shipped.
Oh my gosh, that's half the battle with I packaged, or I did white label for a company that had the fucking biggest jars. Like, dude, and we were putting an eighth of weed into, you remember seeing them on my desk? And I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I'd be putting it's like a 1/4 ounce jar, and they want an eighth in it. The weed looks like trash because it's small. It was such a mess. And then I couldn't even load up full runs in the vans because of the weight.
Exactly.
And then you put your flower in a Marlar bag and you can't see it.
Exactly.
And it's covered, and now
and then to get it to a clear window is a bitch when it looks at packaging, and who can actually accomplish
and
that
if it's
task.
good product, it's just gonna have a bunch of gooey, frosty,
Crystals
sticky crystals all over the little window.
What a mess.
Yeah, man.
There's almost no winning in that. You know?
Oh, totally.
But then, you know, as a producer, as a manufacturer, you start to think about, hey, for every pound of weed that I'm growing, there's over 100 jars that end up in a landfill with my name on it.
Yeah, I will say the good thing
and that
with
defeats
jars,
the purpose of what we're actually doing.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people do repurpose jars,
For sure.
especially people that go to buy an eighth.
Yeah, this is true.
That's crazy to me. I would never just buy 1/8. That's not enough. So it's like people that do go and they're like, oh, I'm going to keep this jar because it looks so cool. Repurpose. But most of the time it's dude, the waste.
Exactly.
And it's so hard because doing the recycled glass and all that shit. What's really recycled these days?
Yeah.
Once you put a label on, I did a whole eco-friendly line, which was super cool. But once you powder coat the jars and put labels on them that don't have biodegradable adhesive, you defeat the whole purpose of going fucking green.
Yeah.
So it's I paid a shit ton of money for these jars, and then all the printing and shit
the
just reversed everything I was trying to accomplish. And I was like, okay, we can no longer do this. I'm uncomfortable.
Totally negates
Scratch that.
Yeah.
But on that label, you can state that it's.
But on the label, they're
green.
like, go green friendly, hemp package. It's
Well,
we just fucking
there are
crushed our whole
certain ways.
idea.
Yeah, exactly. Manufacturing packaging specifically, I really don't know how you clean that up.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing Mylars, which I was working with a company, and right when we had started using them, they were really making a ton of Mylars for me. They were burying their bags. So they just launched their biodegradable line, and they were burying them all up and down the coast just to do their R&D on it. But the only issue is you can't put a window in that. Yeah. You can't see the fucking product. So I love the idea. We'll get there for sure. But for right now, the biodegradable lines are coming out.
Yeah.
But you can't see shit.
No.
So it's back to the original
and
problem.
even when they do biodegrade, it's only under very specific conditions, and it still takes a long time. It's
for sure. It's still going to be around and present.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And what sucks is that essentially that's your legacy, right?
Yeah.
We learn more from cultures from their trash than from contemporary stuff, right? Because this is the real stuff.
Yeah.
And the
Where
more
they
you
really
geek out
do
on it, the
Agreed.
more you're like, this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
As a go green option. The more you nerd out and you're doing your research, you're like, this really doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
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 No, it's a thing
That's
for
tough.
sure.
That's really tough, especially because what we do in the industry and what we want to provide is a medicine. And
what we're promoting is a holistic thing. We're trying to right some wrongs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I have, luckily, Mendocino County, we have access to Sonoma Clean Power. So all of my power that isn't generated on site comes from 100% renewable sources.
Sweet.
So even our indoor is still 100% renewable. So
Sweet.
we pay a lot more for it.
Yeah.
But at
But
night,
you feel better about it.
That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
can sleep
Great.
better knowing that it's
puts
not,
it more into the intention.
oil's not burning somewhere for that.
Yeah.
You know? So
Good for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's better.
Well, and I think that's back to that intention and really having your plan on what you want to accomplish, what you want to do with, your plants and how you feel about that. Because I think that's a northern mentality. Because once you go further south, it's all about the fucking market.
Again, it comes
And
down
so
to
it's
numbers and stuff.
It's all
so up
business.
here it's
But you know
it's such
what?
a different feel.
What's funny is I was at one of my friend's houses last year, and this guy from somewhere else came up when he was looking for things, and he's like, "Hey man, where all that hippie weed at?" And it was just like, you realize you put all those guys out of business. We can't do all the stuff that we used to do because the margins just aren't there anymore. Because people basically say, hey, this super cheap product, even though isn't truly comparable to something else from a price point, is a third of the price, half the price, 75% of the price. Why am I getting that? And it's, again, when they're not smoking it right there and stuff, that intangible thing, or which becomes tangible, is lost.
Yeah.
The only time I see people doing stuff is on the traditional market, trying stuff. And even then, very rare. People are just,
Or
it's all numbers.
your neighbor, your mom and pop neighbor that's just trying some seeds and
Of course.
enjoying some personal smoke.
Yeah, but you don't see, it used to be buyers would come and it wasn't just like bag appeal numbers, like units.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm taking this back to wherever I'm taking it. So,
Yep.
and these are my people. I need to make sure that this doesn't just, we call it pretendica because it looks good.
Now it's
Great.
called hybrid.
Yeah, my friend used to call it girlfriend weed. And I hate to say that,
We got skinny
because-
weed, we got girlfriend weed.
But I got
Oh,
it
man.
immediately, what he was saying.
Yeah.
But it's these guys, they're in college, they don't want to smoke some super heavy OG with the people who don't puff too much, and then they
Some
yeah.
people
That
can't-
lightweight
Some
weed.
people can't
Yeah.
hang.
Yeah, and herb, just like psychedelics, it's something that you need to build a tolerance to. and stuff,
Yeah.
whatever.
1,000%.
Definitely.
So it can be really uncomfortable to get in.
Good thing we've all built our tolerance over the years.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we medicate.
But I took quite a few years off. I did my
Same here.
military time, and I took a lot of years off. And then coming back into it, it was like you get uncomfortable
Yes.
if
Yeah.
you're not.
Yes.
And so it was like I eased myself back in and like figured out what I really liked and when
Yeah.
I wanted to smoke. It's like starting all over again,
Yeah.
which is great.
So-
You can over medicate and I don't know about under medicate, but there's a happy
Everybody's under-medicated.
Yeah, there's a happy medium there where if I don't smoke a lot, or sometimes I just take a whole week off and I wait till Friday, let's say, to smoke. I'll just
Here.
take a couple hits and then I'm good for the show. I'm good for whatever work. I'm good, and it depends also what I'm smoking.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I like to smoke people's flower, like yourself or Kyle, people that know their strain, if it is a real true sativa or if it is a real true indica, because I don't want to feel it in my eyes. I don't want to feel like just sitting back. Like
It's a good daytime or nighttime.
exactly.
Kind of vibe.
And there's not enough of that out there as a flower and people teaching it. So yeah, that's my rant on that.
Yeah, no.
I think it's also mindset.
Of course.
The
It's set and
psilocybin side
settled.
of it.
Yeah.
It's like if I know I'm in a shitty mood and I'm gonna go smoke some, I have to know what I'm smoking,
Sure.
because your mood and how you internally feel
Yep.
also changes
Reflects
the
on
whole
that, yeah,
game.
yeah.
Herb just
Yep.
Amplifies
like
your
most
inner
psychedelics.
feelings.
It
Totally.
just amplifies however you're feeling. So
Yeah.
if you're bummed out, when I'm going through stuff, I'll go days without smoking weed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You gotta-
almost
you gotta figure
opposite
that out
of
yourself,
what people
you
would
know?
expect. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because people are like, "Oh, you must really be like going through it," and I'm like,
No.
"No, I'm like living life and enjoying my time." But if I'm dwelling on something or something's heavy on me, then I'm
Yeah.
usually probably gonna only smoke at night just to help put me to bed
Yeah.
and be clear-minded all day.
Well, that's-
It's a golden nugget right there,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Weed's
Listen to
going to
that.
put you in your head, and if it's not a good place to be at the time, then you don't want to be there.
It's
Exactly.
like
You
taking
know?
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Same thing.
I'm in a great space in my mind, and I'm ready to
Ready to
light
light
this shit
that
up. What'd you roll up?
That was...
No, it's all good.
that was...
That's us all the
uh,
time.
that was the
That's always
MJ.
We're
me.
always fighting. We're always
That was
fighting
the MJ mints.
Ooh, the MJ. Oh, speaking of that, I was smelling it, and I love it because it has that little hint of mint. It holds true to its name.
Yeah, exactly.
Good frost, good color. But yeah, what?
Which one's this?
That is the
I know.
caramel
Oh, yeah,
apple
look at that
lemons.
thing.
This shit is fucking crazy.
I think
Yeah.
it's
That thing's
beautiful.
wild over there.
Yeah, all
Are
these genetics
you-
came from Finest.
Okay.
So,
Finest. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. so-
Are you bringing
Sounds
any of
similar.
this to your outdoor or desk?
Yes, the Pinnacle I will definitely be doing outdoor.
No.
The MJ mints, I'm sure I will work those into some of my dep, but I have a bunch
Damn.
of Pinnacle that are already a foot and a half tall. They're
Nice.
they're gonna be really nice.
How's the springtime looking for you right now?
It's looking good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at the weather. We got
Yeah.
a little bit of
I
rain.
think it's a little bit of rain, and after that, I think we're in the clear.
I think spring is finally here.
Spring is
Last year
finally
we
Spring
didn't
here.
have
has sprung.
Exactly.
Let's
Hey.
get it.
I'm so
So,
excited.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, obviously Mendo's the place to be and stuff. Whatever.
Is
It's
that it? Any new strains you got going?
actually I'm actually going with
I
some
know.
old strains.
Oh, I
I
know.
love
I was
it.
thinking the same thing.
Just
I'm
leaf
gonna
like
that.
bring a few back.
Exactly. Like I haven't done seeds in a long time because again, the market has forced me to chase it.
Everyone
this
wants
is
a
year-
purple
From the
dense
business
gelato.
aspect.
Exactly.
Whatever
you
the
know?
fuck it is.
Let me cherry gelato. It's like it's
Yeah.
the new OG. Have you ever seen a strain
It's
fall
like this
off
hot-
faster than
there's
the
like-
OG? That is insane.
Seriously.
OG was the thing
Yeah.
for 15 years.
And then it went to glues.
you know, yeah. But I
still,
mean,
that OG
nothing had
flavor
that-
is still
Yeah.
in
Oh,
that
it's-
cake
yeah, it's-
and
well,
Yeah.
gas.
The
It's
gas.
blues.
It's the gas. It's
Yeah.
it's the pedal of the industry.
for sure. But yeah, this year I'm actually doing what I call the Mendozi, which is the Mendo Breath Dosi Do.
Dosey do.
Nice.
It's actually-
that Mendo breath, right?
Exactly, from
Sir.
NorCal
Gas.
Icy Mag,
Classic.
Caesar and stuff. My boy years ago gave me some F3 pollen of the Dosi Do from when he originally made the Dosi Do, and I crossed
Excited
that
about
with
this.
the original Mendo Breath that we made and that we ran in 2014 in Mendo and stuff. So the first time either of those strains were run outdoor, they were run in Potter Valley in Mendo and stuff. The Dosi Do and the Mendo Breath.
Nice, keeping it local.
Yeah, so 2014 was when those really hit.
Yeah, I
out
definitely
there,
grew
so.
some Mendo breath back in the day.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
so,
a- it was a
but yeah,
favorite.
It's great.
It's
Chunky,
great.
Purple. I love
gas.
It's
stuff.
chunky.
Yeah.
It's chunky though. You cross that with a few things and it's phenomenal.
The Mendozi, I think Thug Pug did it as peanut butter breath or something. Is what they did.
Peanut butter
Yeah.
breath was popular
Yeah,
for a
where
while.
did peanut
It's-
butter come from?
I don't know. I call it
Yeah.
the Mendozi because it's Mendo Breath Dosi Do.
Yeah.
I don't know what to name stuff. For me, the naming convention should follow the strains that.
I think it's because like the
You
way
know.
it smelled.
That's an old school way
It kind of
to,
had like a
You know?
to
like
do
a
it
funky,
too. The new
Yeah.
school is more like what it looks like, and
Yeah.
let's name it after a cartoon.
Like,
Yeah, it's
everything's
all
gotta be
dessert
kind of
strains
fruity
now,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
When,
back
when
to
are the
food.
savory strains? The steak. Where's that?
Yeah.
You know.
That steakhouse strain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's that filet mignon?
Yeah.
I remember.
That's-
You know,
come on,
I'm
man.
old. I remember in high school there was a strain called the Champagne.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
still out there.
Yeah. And it was
yeah.
like, oh man, the champagne. It was just
Yeah.
like,
That's so
less
funny.
classy.
yeah, exactly, right.
You got fire over
I like
there, Kyle?
those skunks.
I love like Trainwreck. That's like
Yeah.
my,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
the
I always bring that
Dude,
back.
Trainwreck, the scent right there, that jack that's in
Yeah.
the stuff, that personifies like clean to me. That piney smell. If you had that as like an air freshener, I'd be like, damn, you guys just clean.
Which
Yeah,
is
it smells
always
good.
why
Yeah.
I'm like so shocked that people want to add all that fruity shit because it's like that right there is
Oh.
everything.
But
Yeah.
it fits the
the-
demographic.
It's for the-
the
yeah.
demographic for that,
taste.
I
I
know,
like
but
fruit.
it's
I like fruit too, but
It's a nice,
you
it's a
know.
nice flavor in the joint for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on it that way. It's just there's so much more out there.
yeah. Why are you limiting yourself?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
And-
only looking at purple weed, only looking at
Yeah.
like fruity strains and stuff.
And that
whatever.
fruity stuff, like
Yeah.
it's
Well,
gonna
not-
get you
And
more
structure-wise,
tired. It's not
structure's
even
so
gonna
big
do
with
the
people,
medicine
too.
that you do.
well, it's people
while you're
shopping with
smoking
their
it.
eyes.
Exactly.
You know
course.
what I mean? It goes back to just
Then again, exactly.
visual.
That's
Visual.
all you get when you go to the dispensary. You can't open that jar. You can't even touch anything.
And then the jars that they do
Wow.
have with the magnifying shit, it's like they don't have every
Yeah, of
jar in
course.
there.
And it's
They only
been
have like
manhandled or
it
something.
depends on who's on promotion that month or
Yep.
that week.
Yeah.
Whose shit made it into those jars? It
I mean,
sucks.
Exactly. And let's be real, we've all seen sample pounds enough. Those things are beat
Yeah.
up. They're never.
Or
you know.
do the rest of it?
Oh,
Does it look like what that first bag looks
Exactly.
Yeah, you
like?
better QC.
Exactly.
QC all them.
Yeah.
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 But
Some
no,
time in there.
But again, a non-homogenized agricultural product.
Yeah.
What other product is put into opaque packaging or packaging even remotely similar to cannabis? None. You just don't do that. It doesn't make sense because you don't buy those types of products like that. One nugget from the same plant is going to be different than another nugget from the same
Oh,
from the
absolutely.
same-
There's a sun side and the shady side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What side's going to get more purple? The side with sun. The side's been more exposed. So
People
if you're looking at it,
don't
like, oh,
realize
it's
that.
super purple, but then this from the same plant.
Like, oh, that
genetically,
same plant.
not even
What?
though like it was in the corner of this room or it was in this part of the greenhouse. No, this is the same plant.
This
It'll
tastes
look
great,
totally
by the
different.
way, B.
For sure, thanks.
Tastes really good.
But that's so
Yeah.
fresh. It's just people are
Yeah,
so
you
frustrating.
wouldn't buy cherry tomatoes like that. You wouldn't
Totally.
buy anything like that. Buying concentrates like that, sure, that's fine, man. You buy honey like that. You buy wine like that. It's a homogenized product. This is non-homogenized. You wouldn't buy, like I said, any corn and stuff, whatever. You wouldn't buy anything like that. And it's like,
Oh,
and so
absolutely.
cannabis
No.
needs to be presented in a different way, I think.
For
that
sure.
tastes amazing.
Because the
Respect.
taste, the smell, it's all different.
Yeah, exactly. And it is such a
Sorry.
visceral thing.
It's all right,
you
we got
that
him
you
over
really
here.
do
I
need to
was
be
like,
able
you
to-
guys got this.
To get in there with it. So-
Yeah, I wanted to touch base too on a new thing that's happening. Kyle was talking about it, and I cut him off. But the color flower looks like a freaking Easter egg. Have you seen this? What's going on? People, first of all, went to spraying distillate on there, and then it went from spraying THCA, then diamonds, then now I just got a picture of some different color packs, and they said they wanted this, and I was like, good luck, because first of all, once you spray anything on this flower, it's not going to last very long. The shelf life just went to 2 days, if that.
I don't know anything about Pixar fucking
It's-
cartoon shit or whatever, but yeah, it seems like we're getting further and further away from what makes cannabis.
I think that's
Yeah.
just the market.
So-
The market is
Yeah.
driving us into this funky direction, but up here, I feel like everybody's really trying to hold it.
So you're
down.
saying
Trying
the
to hold
color
it-
of
hold
the
on to it.
buds
People are
trying hard.
that
stained or
stack
something.
would be pink. That stack would be purple, blue, and green.
Blue.
Yeah. Blue. Yep. And I said, no way that I can do anything
What are they
like that
spraying
her.
on it?
I didn't even
I
get
think it's
into it.
THCA.
I gave up. I was like, no way.
But how
I'm
are you
sorry.
getting
Or-
that color?
I can't do that. That's
There's
not me.
add in colored
There's a lot of
dyes and
spraying.
Dyes.
shit.
It's
like
got to be a
whatever.
dye. It has to be
Well,
a
it's just
dye.
nothing
with-
natural,
Why
you know?
would
Yeah.
anyone want that on their weed?
'Cause
They're
it
just
tastes
trying,
good
and
and
they're
it
trying to
looks
be.
good.
They're trying to be different.
I
It's
got
like
you.
an
They're
art.
trying to
It's
be
like
different.
style. They're trying to put
get
weed
that.
as in.
I understand differentiating yourself, but,
But now you're defeating the purpose.
Adulterating
so much
it?
more.
And then
You know?
smoking it.
You don't wanna
That's
smoke
what.
it.
What are you
It's just-
putting
what do
in
you-
your fucking
that's
lungs?
totally.
At least I know.
We
Me
have
with this.
thousands of years of coevolution
Exactly.
with this. We know that it's good.
But then once you
Exactly.
add all that other shit,
yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
even pulling all that stuff out of cannabis nug, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's, if they're getting terps drive from cannabis, all that, but you're going through it. You're processing it.
But even
The
even
processing.
concentrate, whatever. We haven't been burning weed at 600 degrees. You know, we
Exactly.
haven't been burning hash at 600 degrees for very long,
Yeah.
and we certainly haven't been burning not the full plant. It has different compounds. Than as soon as you do something different to it, it's going to have different compounds. Look
They
at
change,
tobacco,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Totally different smoke. People who smoke cigarettes all day won't smoke cigarettes in their house because they're like, this is disgusting. But people who smoke weed all the time
Yep.
in their house
Yep.
because it's not going to fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it's
I mean,
like, yeah,
pure.
the next day you're going to be like, oh, did you smoke weed in here?
Yeah.
You smoke a cigarette and come back,
Oof.
after a
Yeah.
day.
Oh, it's
People are like, oh,
gross.
dude, you guys
Even like a
harsh.
blunt or a backwood can,
Yeah.
can
Totally.
fuck up your house
Yeah.
pretty good.
Absolutely. And it shows the different, properties of that smoke and
Yeah.
stuff, whatever.
a little bit of weed smoke
So-
and an incense.
Yeah.
It's my Sunday.
David's remedy.
Yep, it's my Sunday for sure.
Shit.
Not as much anymore. I got the little one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, you just
yeah.
pick and smoke outside now.
Yeah, I got a nice porch
Yeah,
out
there's,
there.
Yeah,
there's
you
ways
just-
around that.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great
Just
thing.
move around.
Exactly.
But I think when they were spraying flour, how it all started was because all this auto flour that doesn't
It's
test
trash.
hot, yeah, but looks like they got some color out of it and
How do you
everything.
really
but
feel?
they're preach.
Man.
But
They're making hot hemp, is what you're saying.
yeah, they're just spraying it to try to boost up the THC level a little bit. But it's
Yep.
like, why don't you just grow good wheat?
That's
Like,
exactly.
why are you wasting so much time and
Exactly.
doing
It's
all this?
For the
That and
knowledge,
it's also,
bro.
I
I
think
mean-
that the government makes shit harder to do every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With their regulating.
Regulations
Well,
and
all
then
your
changing
that's
them.
that is an excellent point. A lot of the restrictions are pushing people to do that because you
Exactly.
can move hemp across state lines.
Hemp has nothing. It has
Right?
no
And
fucking.
as soon as you take it
anything.
to Alabama and you've got what's harder to get
It has
across
no
state
regulation
lines?
at all.
100 pounds of like good herb, the THC flower to Alabama and stuff, or 100 pounds of hemp and a liter of distillate. And then
Yeah.
you get
Shit.
there and boom. Is it that the market
Hemp.
wants it? Do you think the market really wants Delta 8? No.
No.
They want
Hell
real
no.
fucking
They want some of that
Do
NorCal
you
shit,
think
but
that
it's all
the
the
market wants fucking research chemicals and shit, or do they want LSD and psilocybin?
Well, and that goes back to
So
most
there
people
you
don't
go.
know what
It's
the
like
fuck they're smoking.
They're creating this market. It's just
Yeah.
like
The government's
I hate,
putting them in that in
There's
that
a
lane
door and there's only
to do
certain
that.
people that have a key.
I hate to be
use
so
it.
conspiratorial, but
Sorry.
and to be like,
No.
oh, the government, this, right?
I feel
but
it.
just like banking, we're excluded from the banking community, and then the feds come after us saying there's so much violence surrounding cannabis because of all the cash. And it's like, cool, we don't want to be dealing with cash either, so let's
Yep.
like,
use the bank.
give
Yeah.
us somewhere to put it.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
Like,
they keep you
hello.
down. It's just like what they did when they created the Controlled Substance Act. They're saying this is bad. So bad you can't even try or test it. You can't even run experiments with it. You can't see if it has any sort of medicinal benefits because it's so bad. And so for 60 years, we didn't have any research on this, even though people knew because everybody's still doing psychedelics and benefiting from them. Of course, it wasn't until MAPS in the turn of the century, Multiple Disciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, before they started getting like PTSD for people returning from Iraq
Yeah.
and Afghanistan
Huge.
and showing how well that if it wasn't for them we wouldn't have ketamine therapy, we wouldn't have all these other things, all these things that we already knew as a community we're coming back to. Michael Pollan writes a book on it and now it's hip because it's a New York Times bestseller. Psychedelics
Yeah.
are in vogue again. It's they never went out, and the right people, they always knew.
Yeah.
MDMA was made illegal in the 80s. Before that, all sorts of therapists were using it because they're
Totally.
like, dude, this works. Of course.
With
Yeah.
cannabis especially, the government sees how much profit can be made from it, but they don't know how. They haven't figured out, which fucking is beyond me. Haven't figured out how to make their own steady piece of it
Ironically,
consistently because they're always
the
fucking
government,
shit up.
federal government, holds patents on cannabis,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for medicinal purposes, while simultaneously
From years
saying,
ago,
exactly,
too,
while
from fucking
simultaneously
years ago.
holding the line that there's no fucking, that's why it's Schedule 1.
So wow.
You know, which is insane. It's just insane when you can have such
Makes no
contradictory
sense.
laws and stuff in the same country.
Brainwashing.
Of course,
For
yeah.
real.
for so long.
Control.
Yeah.
But it's all about control.
It is.
Yeah.
It really,
Money.
and it's sad.
Yeah,
you know,
money.
I've always been like that, but here
Yeah.
I am, 4 decades later, and I'm still like, fuck, I'm brighter every day.
But
Totally.
you're still with the herb, which is amazing, which I think is super dope.
It
And
sucks because like you
respect
still
for
have to
sticking
like
with it,
part
bro.
of
Yeah.
you has to bend to the market and like the
Well-
wants and needs, but then the other part of you is staying very much true to the roots, which is
Exactly.
super special.
I started smoking weed way too early.
Yeah.
So
I started smoking weed when I was 11.
Oh Jesus.
But by the time I was
way too
14,
early.
exactly. By the time I was like 14 or 15, I was smoking every week or every day, and it is medicine.
As
It
a parent,
does
though,
work.
I'm like, that's
my daughter is 12, going to be 12. I'm like, I couldn't imagine her smoking. It's
No.
like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
exactly.
Like being around it's one thing, but then like actually.
Well, and
smoking it.
understanding like its purpose is, and
Yeah.
you're not looking at it as, ooh, that's bad. I'm
I think
gonna
But
rebel
part
and
of
do
that
that. I
is-
think it's the community that you're being brought up in, or
Exactly,
raising your
and
children
showing
in.
that it's not
That's how it
that
was
big
for
of a
me.
deal.
And the understanding of that it has medicinal purposes and it will help. It's
actual plant medicine.
and it's not just to be used
I always used to say recreation
frivolously.
Yeah.
through medication,
Yeah,
Nice.
or even medication through recreation.
I'm good. Thanks.
But yeah, it works. It does.
absolutely.
And herb, it does bring people together. It does.
That's the best part
I mean,
about
look
smoking
at all
a
of
joint.
us.
Yeah, when you
Makes
smoke
you
a
see,
joint, it's
makes
like,
you
who
see
wants
the
to smoke
world
a
in a
joint by
different
yourself?
angle,
Gives
Yeah.
you
different perspective on life,
which is so important.
which a lot of people do need.
It's helped me through
Sorry.
anger, growing up as a kid,
Yeah.
like with
Yeah.
divorced parents and like
Yeah.
gone through a lot. And then when I finally got into cannabis, it really helped me with like anger
Exactly.
as a kid
I-
and a young adult
See,
too.
and I think that a lot of people would have something to say about the benefit. It might be different for me. It's calms me, it brings me down
Yeah.
to fucking chills me out because I can get so spun up. I like fast paced moving. I like all that. So it's getting out of that is hard.
Absolutely.
The reset. And so I think people,
The reset.
it's
The
the
reset.
reset.
It
It
is.
reset and
Into
it
the
brings me
now.
like,
It
Centers
does.
you.
let me,
Centers you back.
yeah, it centers you back.
I had a.
Especially if you do it
Let's go,
barefoot.
preach.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Get
what
that
I mean?
grounding
Go
going
outside,
on.
ground yourself, smoke
Hell
a little
yeah.
herb.
It's
Do some
you feel like a
stretching.
different fucking person.
So we used to call it
Real.
back in the day. We used to call it safety break. You want to take a safety break?
I
So
like
I
that.
even thought about like
I like
doing like
Safety
joints and seeing.
My
Okay,
fam does that
let's do
too.
a half gram joint. Like how long does this take to smoke? Like 10 minutes. Here's a 10-minute safety break. Here's a full gram. That's a 15-minute safety break.
10 minute
And then
break.
obviously you have to sell them by their weight, but basically market them as a
That'd be a fun
5-minute
little
safety
brand
break,
thing.
10-minute safety
That'd be a
break.
fun little brand.
That's what I mean. It's all.
kinda
Maybe
like
like a
that, yeah.
10-minute
Launch
safety
a little
break.
safety break joint
Well, yeah.
line.
It was always like, safety break? Like, it is.
Grab
And
your
there's
hard
something
hats, get your
to
vest.
weed.
We're here for it.
We're here for it.
That-
Come on
Strap in.
Specifically with
Strap in.
flowers,
Put
but
your
don't get
seatbelts
with a
on.
pen, right?
About
Yeah.
to be
Because
flying high.
You have to like you break it down, right? You roll it up. That takes a second.
It's a process
It
of
takes.
making it.
You can't smoke a joint in faster than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
So it's you have to take that time.
Yep.
For
Well,
yourself,
it clears your
you know?
mind.
It
like
does.
it puts you. You're
Yeah. Like a
focusing
little
on something else. It is
meditative
a little
space.
break.
It's
I
more than
love
just
it.
like getting high. It's like literally just taking a break, a safety break.
100%.
And so and
Agreed.
that can be just as like
It just
restorative
puts you
and
more in
stuff.
the spiritual realm, and you can see that
I feel
side
like
of
you
things.
can connect like with yourself and listen to your
in
body
nature
more.
and being
Yeah.
in nature, like you're saying, grounded, and yeah, I think that's the.
I'm
vibe.
okay.
I'm
I'm
good.
chilling too.
It's amazing.
That was delicious.
For sure.
Yo, for
Very
sure.
smooth.
Respect, man. You got a lot
Yeah.
of good stuff over here.
For sure.
do.
Thanks.
You
Yeah,
really
no,
do.
stoked.
What are the two over there?
So I think there's actually 2 of the MJ mints, and one of them is that caramel apple lemon. But we could actually.
Okay.
That whole stick right there is
Yeah.
just beautiful.
Exactly.
That's
Take
like-
off some of
You
that.
see
With
the-
the
you can
leaves,
see the
I love the
glow.
leaves still
It
on
has,
it
like,
because
that
it's like
purple
you
frosty
can see
glow.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can see exactly how it was grown.
No, it's beautiful.
The
That's my
trichomes
favorite
on those
way to
purple
look at
leaves.
weed.
Yeah.
Like the contrast is
Yep.
beautiful.
For sure. It's good herb. I will give it to Finest that they do typically have really fire genetics. And that's,
And Finest has been around for a while, right?
yeah, definitely right around, I remember the first time I actually got stuff from them was right about 2016 when they did open up, probably 2017, and they had sprayed it with something that reacted to sulfur. And I use sulfur, I do sulfur burns.
Yeah.
And it completely destroyed, it's the only time I've ever completely destroyed a crop.
Wow.
So, and then I linked up with them through my friend C's, who I talked about earlier, at the Emerald Cup. And he's like, how'd those cuts work out? And I was like, oh.
Not
And he's
so-
like, oh, did you use sulfur? Like spray
Sulfur.
sulfur?
Oh,
I'm like, I
shit.
burned. He's like, we're going to start sending stuff out. That was so many years ago. Now it's not even an issue. I don't know what I don't even know what it was that they used. But it was, I vegged them, and it was 3 or 4 weeks into flower, and it still affected them. It turned the leaves to rubber. It was
That's
horrible.
wild.
Weird.
But ironically, one of the
Never
best
seen that.
strains ever, which was from my perspective, which was the ice cream, not the ice cream cake. Gosh,
Ice cream cake, man.
no, it was
Those days just haunt me. No, ice cream cake actually.
the orange
sold a lot.
creamsicle. That's what it was. I'm like, there's too many
yeah,
dessert
the
things. There's the
creamsicle.
orange creamsicle, which had
remember
the
that.
most insane terps. It really was like like an orange creamsicle. I was like, wow.
Mm.
But yeah, again, I'm for the most part forced to do what the market wants. Luckily, I was able to get these strains and find these.
Which one's this?
Well, hopefully you can find something you
It's the
like
MJ
within
mix.
that
Yeah, it's the MJ
profile.
mix.
How's that nose?
Yeah,
The nose.
and so I think they have a Finest has like a subdivision. It's like dub plates or something. I don't know why, but they even market it as more of like, I guess what we would have called back in the day exotics. You know, where it's like it's different, but if it's done, it should command more money.
Yeah.
And
That's nice that they
you know.
they give you some tiers like that.
exactly, and that's really what I'm going for. It's like anyone can grow weed. I'm trying to grow
Weed
really
that sells
good.
really well too.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
is that
you gotta find both.
my
Yeah.
herb, it always used to be, especially at the same price point, 10 times out of 11, my shit at the same price point is going to go over somebody else's because they're going to open it and they're going to like, yeah, for sure. Sometimes it's not what they're looking for, and I get that.
Yeah.
Good weed always sells.
It sells itself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's
easy.
if it's good weed and stuff, people.
It'll go.
That's the thing. Remember,
You don't even have to trim it that well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, dude.
You know what I mean?
And Meet the Parents. Ben
What do we call
Stiller
it?
is trying to
We
get.
call this family style right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
This
good
is what
weed.
you do.
My favorite
yeah.
way though.
Yeah, Kyle hands me a family
And that's the
style.
thing is that the
It's
person
trimmed to
who
order.
wants
Trimmed
this
to order,
weed right
yeah.
here, it's the screaming eagle kind of guy. It's like I said, Ben
Yeah.
Stiller in Meet the Parents goes to the pharmacy trying to find some
You
champagne.
lost me.
And he's, man, hey, do you guys have any $100, $120 bottle of champagne? The guy's, no. This is not Mum's. So I'm growing weed for everybody, but I'm also specifically growing weed for that guy who goes to the dispensary, who goes to their guy. And I'm not necessarily looking for a deal. I'm looking like, what's the best weed you have?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that. I want something that I don't get from other shit.
What's
you
the
know?
I want
Bud
quality
tenders.
over quantity
Yeah,
every
all day.
time.
Yeah.
So-
Every time.
And then work
Yeah.
backwards from there. That's what people come up to the Emerald Triangle for. It's the consistency.
Oh,
It's the
absolutely.
quality.
Yep.
And it's the quantity.
The potency.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
I'm-
but it's hard to do all
I'm
those
feeling
things.
pretty
It
relaxed.
is.
That was
Yeah.
my first smoke of the day, so
Yeah.
I'm
That was great.
definitely-
Super
yeah.
smooth.
Yeah, and that's
Just chilling.
Tasted amazing
Tastes
to the
good.
end too.
Yeah, to the
Tastes
end.
good.
and that's what good herb.
Exactly.
It's all about the experience. And
That's
it
what
should
I'm
be-
talking about.
It should be fun smoking it. It should be fun afterwards. It should
The
be
name
You
of
should
your
enjoy
farm.
the whole thing.
Why is it Shepereds Meadow?
Yes, my son's name is Shepherd and my daughter's name is Meadow.
I love
And
that.
So we're a family
Respect.
farm.
Hell yeah, man.
You know,
That's
I'm trying
so
to be
sick.
trying to be here for a long time. Trying to leave something and stuff, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to be proud of something. So it made
That's
sense to.
I
yeah.
think they will be, bro.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's again, I'm putting my name on this stuff. Whatever
Yeah.
I want my product to be the best, kind of stuff out there. And so,
Yeah.
Respect.
I want it to have. That
I love
impact.
that.
And just do it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Killing it,
Well,
man.
back to like family farming.
Yeah.
That's the
What a
that's the
crazy
way.
concept that
Like,
we've
Yeah.
done
wow.
forever. All
This
of
makes
humans.
sense.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
It's
that's
like whatever.
awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, and that's
Cheap labor.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting
Right?
for a day. Yeah,
Patiently.
exactly.
That's what my folks always said to me.
Seriously. Seriously. No,
Yeah.
funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, I'm stoked.
I appreciate you being here today, man.
For
And
sure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming out.
It's
Yeah.
been super fun.
Stoked,
Mhm.
dude. Stoked. For sure.
Mad love. I feel great. I gotta work though, so
Eh.
we gotta keep it pushing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
One
good.
harvest, one love.
Right
Peace. Till next time.
Sweet.